Good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started here. My name is Ginny McGee, and we are going to do a overview of Canvas with you today. We're going to go over all of the main features that you will use in Canvas and show you how to submit assignments and participate in discussions and all kinds of other good things. So first, I want to look at the browsers that will work best with Canvas. We prefer Chrome, and that's actually the browser that has been recommended by the people at Canvas that works best. But if you really like Firefox or Edge, you can use those. Just make sure that you are running one of the two latest releases of those browsers. And make sure that you are not still using Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer will not work with Canvas. And if you are a Mac user, we recommend downloading Chrome and using Chrome on your Mac device. Safari, technically they say it works, but there have been some issues with one of the latest releases and images not loading correctly in tests. So that is definitely not something that you want to mess around with. So Chrome will work absolutely fine on your Mac product as well. We also recommend keeping your cache clear and clearing your browser history periodically, especially if you're running up against some kind of trouble and it seems like things aren't loading correctly. That's a good thing to try. And then finally, you can run Canvas on any device that will support a modern web browser. So your PC, laptop, phone, tablet. But if you are using a mobile device, we do recommend the Canvas app, especially for phones. You can download that by going to whatever app store you use and just searching for Canvas Student. So I do want to look quickly at accessing Canvas so that anyone who has not yet been logged into the MyCCC portal can find out how to do so. When you are on the Camden County College homepage, camdencc.edu, you will see in the upper right-hand corner that there is a MyCCC link. This will take you to the portal where you will be able to access Canvas. When you click on that link, you're going to be taken to a page that looks like this, and you will need to sign in with the username and password that was sent to you by the Office of Information Technology. So you should have gotten an email that contained your login credentials, but just in case you didn't or you're not sure, I do like to make sure I give you the information on how to log in. So most of the time, for almost everyone, there are some rare exceptions to this, but your username should be your first name dot last name, followed by the last 3 digits of your college issued student ID. So for John Smith, whose ID ends in 100, his username will be john.smith100. And then your password, and this is your initial password, is going to be your 2-digit month and 2-digit day of your birthday. So for John Smith, that would be 0101, followed by the last 4 digits of your social security number, so 6789, followed by a capital C, an @ sign, and 2 lowercase c's. So his example is going to look like this. I do want to also point out that if you are an international student, if you don't have a social security number, you can just replace those last 4 digits of your social security number with 4 lowercase s's. So it would just be SSSS in place of that 6789. If you try this and it does not work, if you have issues getting logged in, you will need to contact the help desk. There's the phone number for the help desk. There's actually a toll-free number and then also a local number. And you can also contact them via email as well. Now, one other quick thing that I want to show you, and you'll get a little bit better idea of where you'll find this information, but if you are taking a class that is part of the first day program, and if this does not apply to everyone, so if you're not sure what I'm talking about, then this may not actually apply to you. But there are some courses where you pay for your digital textbook as part of your tuition cost. And I just want to show you where you can find the information. And we'll look at this a little bit more closely, or I'll show you where to find it when we actually take a look at Canvas. but you will look for this Fall 2020 course materials link. And when you click on that, it will show you if you have a text that is associated with the first day program. So it'll let you know if you've opted in, if you've paid for it, and then your instructor will need to give you directions on where to proceed from there. So in this example, this course is using a McGraw-Hill Connect text, and so the student could click on this Fall 2020 course materials link to see that they did indeed pay for it, that this course is using that textbook, and then they would click on the MH Connect link to actually be taken to the e-textbook. So I am using a fake student account today, so don't be worried that you're actually seeing something that is private, but this is what your student account will look like. Obviously, you're not going to have all of the same to-do items and the same courses as this fake student does, but you should be taken to your dashboard as soon as you click on the Canvas icon in the MyCCC portal. So it's going to look something like this. So I'm going to start over here on the left-hand side. This is our global navigation menu, this gray bar here. It is going to be there no matter where you go in Canvas, so you can always quickly and easily get back to your dashboard or your courses or wherever else you need to go. I'm going to start by clicking on this account button here. And as you can see, our nice fake student, James Casey, has put a picture of himself. If you would like to put a profile picture, you can always click on this profile button. You'll see kind of a generic head icon here, and you can click on the pencil and upload a picture. You also could put a profile for yourself if you wanted to give your classmates and your instructors a little more information about you. Just, of course, keep in mind that they will see this information as well your classmates. The next thing that I want to click on is our notifications link. So this is where you can choose what you want to be notified about as far as activity that is occurring in all of your classes. So there's going to be a lot of things going on in your classes, things that students are doing, information your professor is putting into the course, and you may have certain things that you want to make sure you get an email notification about if they occur in your class. One of the ones that I would want to make sure that I was notified about would be this first one here, this due date item. So if my instructor changed the due date on an assignment, I think that is something that I would want to know about sooner rather than later if I have more time to get something turned in or there's an adjustment to the due date. And over here on the right-hand side, you will see that you have 4 options for how those notifications or when they will be sent. So they will be sent to your Camden County College email address by default, and you can choose to get notified right away. You could get a daily summary, that's this clock icon here, a weekly summary, that's the calendar, or you could choose to not get sent anything. And you can change the frequency just by clicking on the icon. I think the due date, I probably would at least want to get a daily summary. Not that this is probably something that will happen a lot, but if it did, I would not want to probably wait a week to realize that I had an assignment due date. As I mentioned, when you come here, you will see your Camden County College email address is the default contact method. It's the only contact method that will be in here to start with. And I'll show you in just a minute on a different screen how you could add an additional contact method if you wanted to. So you could actually add another email address if you would rather have these notifications go somewhere else besides your CCC email. The other 2 items that I always recommend leaving turned on either for the daily summary or the immediate notification is under conversations. So added to conversation and conversation message. These 2 have to do with the Canvas inbox. We'll talk a little more about that in just a minute, but it's Canvas's internal messaging system. And if your instructor sends you a message to the Canvas inbox, an email will go to your CCC mail with a copy of that message. So it just kind of keeps you very informed as to what's going on, even if you don't happen to be logged in at that moment. So if you did want to add an additional contact method, you can do that by clicking on the settings link here. You can click the add email address button and add another email address. You also could, under other contact method, you could add a cell phone number for text notifications, and you could get messages sent to you to let you know if there's an announcement in your class. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on our dashboard here. As I mentioned, this is where you will get taken as soon as you click on the Canvas icon in the portal. And in addition to this announcement at the top, where you're seeing the Canvas training video, you may see other announcements. Those are going to be announcements sent to all students at CCC. Over here on the right-hand side, you'll see your to-do list. That is going to cover anything that's coming up in your classes, so both events and assignments, quizzes, discussions, anything that is coming up in your courses. You can click on them at any time to be taken directly to that item in the course. And then this is also important under recent feedback. This is where you can see if you've had anything that has recently been graded or sent back to you with comments by your instructor. You can click directly on that item and it'll take you to your grade and your feedback for that assignment. You'll also see on your dashboard any classes that are currently active that you are enrolled in. And so you may be looking here and not seeing a class. Don't panic. That just means that the instructor has not yet published the course, and that is common. Instructors may open their courses a little early, but others wait until the first day of class to open the course shell. If you're wondering, you just want to make sure that you are for sure enrolled, you can always click on courses and click on all courses, and there will be a future enrollments section here, and you'll be able to see if you have courses that you are enrolled in that are not yet published or active. So next I'm going to click on our calendar button here. So the calendar in Canvas is actually a combination of calendars for all of your courses that you are currently in that are active. You can see a list of your courses over on the right-hand side. And here you can see the different items that are coming up in your classes. If at any time you want to change the color on any of these, so Introduction to Geology, I might not want this gray. It's a little bit difficult to tell which items are associated with this course. You can always click on the three dots next to the course name and change the color and click Apply. And now that makes it a lot easier to see. It automatically assigns colors, and sometimes it picks colors for classes that are a little close together, so it's hard to see. But it is color coded, so you can easily tell what items go with which class. And these are going to automatically pop up anytime your instructor creates an assignment or discussion or quiz with a due date. That will automatically pop up on your calendar. And then your instructor can also add events. So for example, if there's office hours, there's a conference happening, something like that, they may decide to add that to the calendar as well. I'm next going to click on our inbox. So the inbox in Canvas is an internal messaging system. So it is not really an email system. You don't get an email address for this. You're not able to email anybody or message anybody outside of your Canvas courses. So don't get it confused with your Camden County College mail. This is only for communication with people that you are in a class with. So just your instructors and your classmates within your classes. Now, as I did mention, you could have your notifications set up so that you get notified when you get a message in your Canvas inbox, and you will get a copy of that message sent there so that you can read it. But this is only going to be for communicating with instructors and classmates. If you want to create a message, you can click on this pencil and paper icon at the top. You'll select your course. It will be under Favorite Courses for any of your current classes. And then in this To field, you can either type the name of the person, or what's probably easier would be to click on this address book icon. You can select your teacher, or you could select a student under students. The rest of it works like any other email system, the subject, the body here, and then your attachment if you needed to attach a file, and then click send. And then last but definitely not least, down here in the lower left-hand corner is our help feature. The college has paid for the highest level of tech support that Canvas offers, which means that we have 24/7, 365 support, which is very nice, especially if you are a night owl or, like most people, have a lot to do on the weekends. You could always get Canvas tech support, and they know their product well, and they're happy to answer any questions that you may have about it. So you can click the Search the Canvas Guides. This is going to not take you to a support person, but you could always type a question into the search field and it will come up with answers for you, perhaps a video tutorial, whatever type of items it finds that relate to that question. But if you want to, you could always do a chat with a Canvas support tech and type your question in. They'll be happy to answer it for you. You could also call the Canvas support hotline. And again, if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, it doesn't matter. You'll still be able to get a live person at either of these options. So I'm going to click on this Introduction to Geology course, and just like this is a fake student, this is also not a real course. If you have a first day book, and I kind of showed you this in the PowerPoint earlier, and the reason for that is I can't show you what this will really look like for you with this fake student account, because this is not a real student and they don't actually have any first day materials here. But I did show you what that will look like. If you click on it, if you have a class that has a first day material, it's going to take you to a screen that looks something like this. The second thing that you're going to want to look for is going to be directions from your instructor. So they should have either in the syllabus, or they may have a link that says textbook information or first day or something like that, that you'll need to click on to look at how you're going to access your book. I will also say that you'll most likely see over on the left-hand side, you might have, if you're a McGraw-Hill first day, you'll see a McGraw-Hill link. If you are a Wiley publisher or Pearson. So it's a little difficult for me to give you direct, exact instructions, because we have a lot of different publishers that instructors use at Camden County College, and everything's a little different depending on the publisher. But this is going to let you know for sure if you do have a first day book, this fall 2020 course materials. Not all courses do. But you can click on that to see what it is, and then you'll look for directions from your instructor on how to proceed from there. So when you first click on your course, you will be taken to your course homepage, and you will see over on the right-hand side a to-do list just for this specific class. Also, if you've got anything that has been returned to you, anything graded, will be over here on the right-hand side under recent feedback. So a quick tip about your course setup. You may have more links than this over here on the left side. You may have less links. It depends on your instructor and how they have set up the course. But my recommendation is to always start with the modules. Your instructor may have your course homepage set up to take you directly to the modules. If not, look for the modules link over here on the left-hand side. The modules are your instructor's way of organizing the course so that you will have access to everything that you need for the course. That's how most courses are set up. If the instructor has set it up differently, you'll need to just look for directions on where to go first. But the majority of courses will have you going into the modules to access your course content. When you're looking at your modules, we always recommend tackling items in the order that your instructor has put them. So your instructor is going to have set up your informational items, your readings, videos that you may need to watch, maybe a lecture, that type of thing, before they have put items that you're going to be graded on. So let's look at a couple of the informational items that you might see. If you're seeing something that has a paper clip next to it, that means it's some type of a file, so a Word document, a PowerPoint, a PDF, so on. And with these types of items, you can click on the name of it and it will pull up a preview window so that you can read over the item within Canvas. But there will also be a download link in the upper left-hand corner. So if you wanted to download it, you could click on the name of it and it will download a copy to your computer. Another informational item that you're going to find is going to be a page. Pages have this little piece of paper icon here. And pages could be just written information that your instructor has provided, but a lot of times instructors will include media in a page. So you might have a YouTube video embedded in a page. You may have a video that your instructor has made themselves. They may have an introductory video where you'll see them talking and they may introduce themselves or a topic, something like that. You could have a link to an external website. So pages are also a great source of information, and instructors can put all kinds of things in a page to help you learn the content that they're teaching. So those two items, of course, are very important. You may also see another informational item would be an external link. Depending on the textbook publisher, some publishers have their different textbook readings. The chapters for the textbook, if you have an ebook, may be inserted into the module as a link as well. So don't be afraid to click through. Now don't start or submit anything like a quiz if you're not ready, but any of the informational items like an external link, like a page or a file, go ahead and click around and read over your information so that you know what's expected of you for your course. So the first type of interactive item that you may need to do something with that we're going to click on is our discussions. And you'll see a discussion topic has these little conversation squares here. So I'm going to click on this particular one. This is an introduction, and a lot of classes, online classes, will have some type of introduction discussion where you can kind of introduce yourself to your classmates. With discussions, some may be graded, some may not. This one you can see is a graded discussion. You can see how many points it's worth here, and you can also see when it is due. You may or may not, depending on the instructor's settings for the discussion, be able to see what other students have written. So if you click on a discussion and you don't see any responses from other students yet, that does not necessarily mean that you are the first one. It might just mean that they are hidden from you until you post your response. So you're going to want to read over everything carefully. Make sure that you know what your instructor expects of you, especially for graded discussions. There are a lot of times a good way to get full points on an item if you do read carefully and make sure that you're following all of your instructor's expectations. When you're ready to reply to a post, you're going to click on the reply button here. And one other quick tip, a lot of instructors will set up 2 due dates for a discussion. So they may have a due date for when they want you to have written your initial response, and then a second due date later in the week for when they want you to have responded to your classmates' posts. So make sure if there are 2 due dates that you are getting that in by the 2 due dates that you have so that you can get full points. Down here, you're going to see your text entry box where you will put your answer. And of course, you can type your response into the box, and you will be able to type anything in here, but you can also copy and paste. So if it's something that is longer that you want to make sure you can kind of think about for a little bit of time and you don't want to risk losing, I would recommend open up a Word document or a Google Doc, type it in there. That way you can save it as you go. Unfortunately, you cannot save this box here as you go. So if you're typing a couple of paragraphs and suddenly your laptop battery dies, you're just going to be out of luck. So that's why I usually recommend typing it somewhere else in a Word document and then just pasting it into the text entry box. If your instructor has instructed you to record yourself or given you the option to record yourself, you can do that by clicking this Record Upload Media button here. This is going to use your webcam and your microphone to record you talking, and it will put the video right here into the discussion. When you are ready to post your response, you'll come down and click Post Reply. You'll see your response down below the original post from your instructor. And if you want to reply to another student, you'll just click on the reply button underneath that student's post, and you'll get that same exact box that you can type your response into and click Post. So next I'm going to move on to an assignment. And assignments, you can tell, have this little pencil and paper icon next to them. I'm going to go ahead and click on this assignment here. Instructors can include items in an assignment just like they can in a page. So you're going to see here this instructor has included a video. I would want to make sure that I watch the video before tackling the assignment. Also, any links that the instructor has provided, I would want to access those as well. And up here at the top is where you'll get the important information like the due date for the assignment, how many points it's worth, and how the item should be submitted. So in this case, the instructor would accept a text entry box or a file upload. So you could choose what way you want to submit your assignment. Your instructor may sometimes only offer you one option, but before you are going to click that Submit Assignment button, I recommend very carefully reading over everything, making sure that you see all of the resources your instructor has provided. If there's a rubric, you of course want to know how to get full points on the assignment. And then go ahead and click Submit Assignment. This isn't going to actually do anything yet. It's just going to take you to where you can either upload your file, or in this case, you could also do a text entry. If you click on the text entry tab here, you're going to see a text entry box that looks just like what you had for the discussions. So again, this is a good rule to just make sure that you're typing your response somewhere where you can save it, like a Word document, and then just paste it into the box. A file upload would be, of course, your instructor wants you to upload a PDF, a Word document, PowerPoint, whatever type of assignment it is. When you're ready to upload your document, you'll click Choose File, and then you will find your document in the list, and I'm just going to pick something random here, and then you can go ahead and click Submit Assignment. One tip about this assignment comment box here: never paste your assignment into the comment box. Your instructor is not going to see that you just sent a comment. The only way they really know to click on your submission is if you have actually submitted something either to the text entry box or uploaded a file. So if they clicked on your assignment, they would see that you put a comment, but if you haven't turned anything in, they're not going to know to click on that, and they're just going to assume that you actually haven't done it. So the only time you're going to want to put a comment in here is if you have actually submitted an assignment. So once you've got your assignment, you'll go ahead and click that Submit Assignment button, and you'll see in the upper right-hand corner your submission details. So I can see when it was submitted. I could download the item that I submitted. Depending on your instructor's settings, you may or may not be able to submit your assignment again. So if you realized that you forgot something, you may be able to click this Resubmit Assignment. But just make sure that you do let your instructor know if you are resubmitting, because some instructors will not accept later submissions. They will only look at the first submission that you turn in. So my recommendation would be to let them know you're resubmitting and let them know why, so that they'll know to go in and look for the other submission. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and scroll down a little here, and next we are going to look at quizzes. So I'm going to click on the Try It quiz here. Now, in Canvas, everything that is a test-like assessment is referred to as a quiz. That's just what Canvas calls it. So it could be anything from a 5-point quiz to a 200-point final exam, and it's still going to call it a quiz. So don't let that throw you off. So you will see if there is a due date. There will normally be, for most quizzes, there will be a due date, and you would want to make sure, of course, that you get it completed by that due date. There will be the number of points that it's worth, how many questions there are, your time limit, if there is one. Most instructors will time their tests, so that is important to pay attention to. 5 minutes, obviously. Most quizzes will last much longer than that. This is a sample quiz, but just make sure that you do not click that Take the Quiz button until you know you have enough time to complete it. So if you have a quiz that you've got 60 minutes to complete, and 15 minutes into it, you realize that you forgot you had to go pick your daughter up from school, then you're going to have to get out of that quiz, and that timer is going to keep on ticking down. So that is something that you can't stop once it has started, and it's going to be up to the instructor of whether or not they would want to let you retake it. You also can see here your allowed attempts. In this case, it's 3. A lot of times instructors will just allow 1, but they may allow you to take it more than 1 time. When you're ready, you'll click the Take the Quiz button. You'll see at the top another reminder of how long it will be until the quiz is submitted. And then you'll see over here on the right-hand side, the timer starts counting down immediately. So it's kind of not super visible over here. It's not an obtrusive timer, but you'll need to make sure that you are keeping up with it, making sure you know how much time you have. You'll also see here a question list, and you can easily get from one question to the last question, move around within this question list by clicking on the question. Now in this case, the instructor has set this quiz up so that all of the questions are on one screen, and you just scroll up and down to get from one to the next. Occasionally, you may see a test that the instructor has just put one question on each screen, and then you click next to get to the next question. And even less frequently than that, there are sometimes instructors that will make up a quiz that you can't get back and review a previous question. And if that is the case, that will be in the quiz instructions. So that's why it's always important. Make sure that you read everything over carefully. So I'm going to go ahead and look at some of the most commonly used types of questions here. So this is a multiple choice question, like you've seen probably a million times over the course of your school years. So when was the War of 1812 declared? This is a tricky one. I'm just going to go with 1812. As you can see here, if I select a different answer, it will deselect an answer that I chose previously. Question 2, this is a true-false question. The ocean appears to be blue to most humans. This is tricky. I'm not sure. I'm going to go with true. Well, I don't know. I'm going to go with false. You can see here that's going to, again, deselect. If I need to come back to the question, I can always click this little flag next to the question, and that's just a reminder to me that I need to come back and look at the question again before I submit the test. So if I scroll up, I can see in my question list that I did answer the first 2, and that I've got the little bookmark flag next to question 2 to remind myself to review it. For question 3, this is a multiple select, and you could tell that by these square boxes here. And if you are looking at those, you can tell that if you're checking multiple boxes at the same time, you can have all of them checked. You could have one of them checked, so just make sure that you uncheck any of the ones that you do not want. So I am going to go with what would make a good name for a dolphin. I'm thinking that Fluffy and Lassie are not great dolphin names, so I'm just going to go with the first 2. All right, and then question 4 is a matching. So this one is going to have a column on the left and you've got to match it up with a term in the drop-down menu on the right. So for each of these, it's wanting me to match the ocean animals with their type of skeleton. And with the crab, I know that that's a exoskeleton. By the way, I only know all of these because I've used this quiz, this test quiz, multiple times in the past. So a fish has an endoskeleton, and who knew a jellyfish apparently has what is called a hydrostatic skeleton. When you're done, I recommend going back up. Now, if you have any that you have not answered and you click submit, it's going to let you know that you've got questions unanswered. By the way, it will let you know when you have a minute left. You can review any that you have bookmarked and then come down and click submit. After you have submitted the quiz, you will see over here on the right-hand side your details. So how much time it took you, what's your current score, and if you have more than one attempt, it will tell you how many attempts you have, and then also what score it's going to keep. So it's going to keep the highest of all of your scores. So in this case, if I wanted to try again to get an 8 out of 8, I could do that without worrying. Sometimes though, instructors will keep your most recent score rather than your highest. It'll tell you here what score they're keeping. So in that case, you may or may not, if you've done well, you may not want to retake it again in case you don't do as well the next time. It's up to the instructor. Some instructors will show you what you got right and what you got wrong. That is up to them. So you may not see anything down here. It may have just a message that the instructor has locked the results. Or in this case, I can see that I should have checked true for the question about the ocean being blue, and it's showing me that I got the rest of them correct. But it will at the very least show you what your score is on any portion of the quiz that is auto-graded. So if there's an essay question or something that my instructor has to go in and add points to, that is obviously not going to be graded yet. But in this case, all I had were multiple choice and true and false, so I can see what my score is. If there are multiple attempts and I want to take the quiz again, I can just click that button and it will take me back to the quiz. So if it is a quiz that is completely auto-graded, you will see your score by clicking on the grade book. In this case, you also, as you can see here on the dashboard under recent feedback, I click on it. It'll take me back to my attempt so I can see what my score is. And if I do click on my grades, it will show me my score on the Try It quiz. Now again, if this was a test that had any essay questions or anything like that, it's not going to show up in the grade section until my instructor has added grades for essay questions and those types of things. So the last thing that I want to look at here is the Conferences tab. So your instructors may choose to have times where you can log into Canvas and join them in a live video conference. And if the instructor has set up a conference, you're going to know that because they're going to need to have let you know it's in some way when the conference is happening. So they may decide to put an event in the calendar. They may send an email, they may send an inbox message, they may do all of the above, an announcement. So in some way, the instructor is going to let you know at 2 o'clock on Monday, I'm going to have a conference. And then what you'll need to do is at the designated time that your instructor has told you about, you're going to need to log into Canvas, click on the course, and click on the Conferences tab. So Conferences is similar in some ways to Zoom. The difference is that you don't get a link sent to you from the instructor. You need to click on the dashboard, get into your course, and click Conferences, and then you will see a Join button over here under New Conferences. That's where you'll access the conference, and when you get in there, that's where you'll see your instructor and any classmates. And the rest of it is similar to Zoom. Your instructor can share his webcam. You could see him or hear him or her. And if the instructor has recorded the conference, concluded conferences are only stored in Canvas for 2 weeks after the conclusion of the conference. So if it's a conference that you weren't able to attend, that your instructor has recorded and put into Canvas for you to watch, you're going to need to make sure you get in there within 2 weeks, or you're not going to be able to watch it. It's only storing them for 2 weeks. But you would get to the recorded conference the same way you would get to a live conference. So click on the Conferences tab, but this time it's going to be under Concluded Conference. And you'll see the name of the conference and click on it, and then you'll be able to access the recorded conference from there. This is what we've got for you today. And at this point, I'm just going to say thank you so much for joining us, and have a wonderful afternoon.